I think everybody does a great job bringing the community together, and that just enhances it. But I still think that spirit was going to be there, and just that little extra nudge just makes it so much better. But I think that there's still going to be that underlying sense of like, we all love Star Wars. So therefore, we're all going to be friends anyway. I mean, there's nothing you can be enemies about when it comes to just making Star Wars better.
Right.
I mean, like, you have that initial glue, and we have some phenomenal people around here that just, you have that glue, but now we just cement it all together.
Right.
And that's really unique with this community, which does a really good job.
What would you guys say is the most underrepresented portion or demographic within the community right now? And some would argue that RP is
no, I think that's overrepresented, actually.
I think a lot of games it is, but not Star Wars.
Well, not too much, but like,
I mean, you have SWTOR RP, which is here, and they've done a great job. They have an awesome site, awesome content, and then you also have TORPA or Tor RPA. Which is Role Play Association or Alliance or something like that, and they've been pumping out content. I do think that, I mean, for the most part, there's sort of a general coverage, and it isn't. I don't hear too many RP blogs or RP podcasts, but there is Mandalorian Girl who has that blog as well. It was awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, let's think. What are like could be some demographics. Would be RP, maybe women,
PvP.
hardcore.
Women are not all women.
Well, I'm trying to think. Let's
on
talk
Force
about the
Junkies, I have more
groups.
female writers than I do
Yeah,
male.
no. I'm just trying to think of like what kind of categories.
categories?
If not
What
RP.
categories?
Well, I mean, there's so many different. I mean, like, you can go
Yeah.
just pure gamer demographics where you have, your casual players that like playing by themselves but being part of a greater whole. You have your hardcore players who just spend way too much time with Star Wars, which is awesome because that's me. And then you have the players that like playing in small groups, bigger groups, and much bigger groups. You have players that love playing in larger guilds and smaller guilds. And
RP.
Yeah, I mean, I think.
But I think the most underrepresentative group right now is because we can't excel is the actual hardcore min-max like theory crafting group.
Yeah.
Because that really has no room in the community right now because we don't have the data and everything else.
And even if we did have the data, any theories we had would change tomorrow.
It's gone.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think that the feature specific content is really what is lacking. Like, you don't see many PvP fan sites out there. Like dedicated,
it's not there yet.
Dedicated PvP fan sites. You don't see a lot of dedicated raiding fan sites. And I mean, I think that in the most part they will be covered. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, it's a little bit difficult to get to that point.
And I don't even think that might not be even prevalent for this game because the max rating group went from the norm of 40 from WoW, and the EQ was unlimited. And you went to 40 for WoW, and then dropped to 25. And now in Rift it dropped down to 20, and now for Tor it's dropped down to 16 and 8. And it's not even 20-man and 10-man, it's 16 and 8 people, and they're just bringing down the organizational, what you need to do to bring that many people together to do something, that I don't know if they're taking out the hardcore min-max part of it, because that's probably still going to be there.
Absolutely.
I mean, we've gotten hints of the mod system that's going to just drive min-maxes absolutely crazy. Once the game comes out, and that's really going to play a factor in a lot of fan sites. 3 months ago.
Isn't it interesting that like the hardcore, if we're saying that maybe they're the underrepresented, I think it's kind of ironic because I think they're also one of the loudest voices.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the PvP is like one of the loudest communities.
Is that what
the min-maxers are not usually the loudest groups in any community. It's usually the people that See, I define casual and hardcore defined on how much time you spend in the game. I don't care what kind of content you do. If you spend 60 hours in the game, you're hardcore no matter what the heck you're doing. You're casual if you spend maybe 1 or 2 hours every other day.
That's how you can be a hardcore crafter.
Exactly.
Or a
hardcore RPer.
Exactly.
Do you think the demographic that is not being heard from, that I think is maybe being catered to, and that is all of the thousands of players that are new to MMOs, that are coming from BioWare, you know?
Well, I don't know how many
They're
new
definitely
MMO.
not underrepresented though, because this is a BioWare game, and they're like, that's the part of this that they like.
I think the fan site. I think the fan site for them.
What was the question? That they're underrepresented in the community or in the game?
In the community.
In the
Community.
Yeah, what's missing?
I mean, I think for the new MMO players, they're gonna look for sites out there that will teach them sort of, how to get around these games. I mean, I think in one aspect they're gonna have to play it. In another aspect, they're gonna have to look up guides, or they're gonna have to look up, walkthroughs or something along those
An
lines.
interesting metric would be how many people that are brought into this game from the BioWare name alone that have played, Mass Effect or Dragon Age or any of those games that have never played an MMO before. Because I would think most people that have played DragonAge and Mass Effect, the vast majority of those players have played one MMO.
I actually
within
think
the
more
last
people will
6
be
years.
brought into this game just because it's
Star Wars.
Says,
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, there was
But
that.
how many of those players that are playing video games that are being brought into the MMO have never played an MMO
Yeah.
before?
Well, you want to know something that's interesting since we're talking about this is
Zach has never played an MMO.
this is going to be the first MMO I've ever played. No, it's going to be the first one like my wife has ever played,
That's cool.
and it's so crazy trying to teach someone how to play a game that's not a gamer, and it's like you walk by using the WD. That's so
I had
obvious.
the same
And-
discussion
but-
before.
And I don't know where to
Yeah.
start, and I'm like banging my head against the wall, just trying to figure out how do I explain this in a manner to where it doesn't overwhelm her because she's interested. But if I can't teach her properly,
The coordination.
I
alone.
think
she's gonna
the
get
best.
frustrated and just walk away. And so
Yeah.
I think that'll be interesting to see. I know it sounds stupid because all of us we know how to play games, but like if there are people that really want to learn how to play this game, because it's a Star Wars game, I think it'll be interesting to see if there is something that pops up to teach those people, because I don't have the patience
We
to
had
do it.
we
and
had
I'm
com- we
trying.
had comments today from the developers, and I don't think this is spoiling or any NDA violating things, that they increased the tooltips and the tutorials in the game to not only translate MMO players to Tor, but new MMO players to the whole atmosphere of WSAD, what happens when you die, where do you go to buy stuff, the whole
And that
basic
stuff's
stuff.
great, but there are intangibles to the game.
Oh,
that,
absolutely.
that
Absolutely.
I know just because I've played games for 20 years that it's a person that's going to sit down and play.
How to whisper.
Yeah, or like
And it's
moving
not-
the camera around, or
Right.
understanding.
And that
where
brings
you-
us back to our earlier discussion with,
The instruction manual.
the chat
What
bubbles.
is whisper?
Yeah. You know what's interesting? I've had this discussion with some of the developers, and they say that the funniest thing, or, the most interesting thing is at conventions, when you have people that have never played MMOs and they're diving into their first MMO
It's
experience.
surprising how many
And-
people those are. that
Yeah,
follow
and
that,
they
yeah.
have no idea how to move, and you can see on the large 40, 50-inch LCD screens them spinning around in a circle in the bird's eye camera view. And I think it's really interesting to see them just diving in because of the
Well,
high
the personal experience that mirrors yours is that when I first started dating my wife, that I play WoW. I'm going to put you in front of the computer, check it out, and she could barely move with the mouse and key WASD, and she's like,
can do it at the same time.
somebody that had no legs. I mean, she's moving around like, I don't know what, I'm completely wasted. I'm playing video games, but I have no idea what I'm doing.
This is one thing I think that, since we're talking about this, we have a lot of people watching, that the community has to understand and they have to be patient. Because when you first get into the game, there's going to be a lot of stupid people. And it's not that they're stupid, but you're going to think that just because you're going to go, why don't you get that? Or,
Beginner questions.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so they're not stupid,
Noobs,
but you're going to feel like that.
Yeah.
And I know it's going to test me because I'm not a patient person. I try to be, but I'm not. And I think it's going to test a lot of the community. And if the community buckles and fails under that, what you're going to have is an environment that's like League of Legends, where it's awful to try to learn with those people.
Well,
No, but-
like any type of
but
Dota
when I- but
atmosphere,
no,
that's
but
completely
that's
elitist.
be-
That's a completely different
It's
community now.
it's completely irrelevant, I think, because if
It's relevant, but I don't think it's as
people-
much of a problem
if
as you think it
people
might be.
basically just say, you know what, I'm not going to have patience with all this new influx of new MMO players, that's what's going to happen to the community.
Well, I
It's
mean,
gonna get turned
there's a
into
huge difference. When you go to play any Dota game, you're immediately thrust into a team, and other people rely on their game experience versus
Yeah.
just your actions.
Yeah.
When you get thrust into Tor, I don't think, I think it's safe to say the Origin worlds could be completely a solo experience for you, and you don't have to rely on anybody else for your own personal enjoyment.
This is the only MMO I've ever seen that's viable to the end solo. I've never seen that, and it's good.
Well, all major
And there will be
MMOs.
some elements of it that you'll have to forfeit to get to the end solo.
Oh yeah, of course.
But, yeah, definitely
You
you
can
can
do
follow
it.
the whole story. I mean, you can play it like, you know, they talked about from the very beginning, why don't you guys make KOTOR 3 and KOTOR 4? They're like, this is KOTOR 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Good point.
And that's what it is. I mean, you can play it as a single player game pretty much all the way through 200 hours of content.
And I think that's where the leniency is going to come in, because if a player gets frustrated with other people not liking them, they can be like, all right, screw you, I'm just going to go follow my class story and have a good time.
Exactly. But,
That's the great thing about the game.
yeah, exactly. I know with WoW, it brought a lot of people, their first MMO experience was WoW. And at the conventions, it's funny watching people you can tell are more console players fiddle with the stuff and things like that. With Fraggle, because we have such a large FPS community, it's interesting because they'll be like, you know, we do our meetings on the FPS side, and they'll be like, how's that Star Wars game?
Yeah.
You know, and they're really interested about it. They haven't tried an MMO, and they have like a negative connotation of like WoW and stuff, so they never tried an
Right.
MMO. But it's just the Star Wars, like you said. It's going to bring new people to the genre, which I think is a positive thing.
Oh, it's always positive. The more new people, the better.
Absolutely.
All right, Hammer.
What do you got for us?
We wrapping up or we got more?
Okay, we're gonna try to do one more question real quick.
All right, one more question.
When can we go to bed?
Never.
Yeah,
Who's got a beard?
I've got a beard.
I've got
No,
a million.
Can I drink your beard?
Questions, people?
I wish I could see this chat, because it's just buzzing.
I think
over
you're just
there.
making up the question.
Things are scrolling and
Really
happening.
Yeah.
Can they hear us well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right there.
I don't know how the audience works.
It's pretty, you can pick up the bar,
Very
the bar like
Okay.
noise.
I mean, the mic sidebar can
They
be
can
used.
hear you breathing.
It's a good night.
Okay. What are you guys playing until launch?
Oh, I could talk about this all night.
Okay, then
Let's
Zach can't
start with
answer.
you then.
No, Zach can't answer.
Go ahead, Zach.
We heard the dawn.
Okay, I'm playing Batman Arkham City. It's fantastic. It's just like Arkham Asylum. It's like picked up where it left off. It's like a more open environment.
You just town on that thing, right?
What's that?
Tons of achievements that you're just going for.
I'm not really going for the achievements. I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to experience this game, and it kind of throws you all over the place. There's sandbox features in the game, but then there's like this really like driven storyline that I want to figure out what's going to happen next. I want to get to the next boss fight. I've got Battlefield 3 still sealed on my desk. Whenever I get time, I'm going to play that. Skyrim's coming out. Uncharted 3 just came out. I mean, gosh, there are so many games that
dude.
you know what scares me is like there's all these games coming out, and then the Old Republic's going to come out, and it's like something's going to.
Right, and then you gotta shelf all your other games.
I don't know, but Arkham Asylum or Arkham City, you got to play it. It's fantastic.
I've heard good things.
And I love the fact that it ties in more to the old, like, 90s Batman cartoon and some of the newer stuff.
You've got all the original voice actors. for
Oh, I
the most
know.
part.
You know, I actually almost like Mark Hamill better as a Joker than I do as a
Yeah, and
Skywalker.
Kevin Conroy is Batman and Bruce Wayne.
A little potty in Star Wars right there.
Yeah, there you go. It's all about the segue.
I started playing Mass Effect 2, which I'd never done before, so that's, who knows how far I'll get,
Was it
but.
was it the coffee you got today?
No. I was really sad. I was like, I just bought this.
That's a big-
And now I could have gotten it for free today if I just waited. But.
Mine is pretty much the same as Zach's. I'm really looking forward to Skyrim and Uncharted 3, and I'm currently playing Battlefield 3.
BF3.
Yeah.
I'm playing World of Tanks. It's
That's
so
a badass game.
It's so totally opposite of anything
Don't be
I was
sad.